All right. Well, welcome to the Versatile Experience Podcast. I'm your host, Carlos Parks. We will be joined momentarily by a group of young ladies out of Tennessee, Nashville area, I think maybe Memphis, and we're going to talk about things that are things that need addressing in the state of Tennessee as soon as they join on. Um, Again, these are all young ladies. So I'm married and my wife is never on time. So I didn't expect I didn't expect and not just and then we're on different time zones. I'm on Eastern time zone and they're on whatever's after Eastern. I don't know, it's an hour behind. But they will be joining us shortly. And at that time I will begin the introduction of these outstanding women. Hopefully we won't have any issues with logging on. I see that we have one already on. She's getting herself together, and I will bring her up on the stage as soon as that is done. But for the sake of today's women, I wanted I wanted to change the mood, change the mood in the room. And because this is the spirit, the ancestors that I kind of call on. So we got our first guest, and I will bring her up. All right, our first guest is here. um I will give you a quick rundown of who has graced our stage as soon as I find her bio. I'm guessing that's in my essay. Miss Huff, you're muted. Take your mute button off if you can, Miss Huff. All right.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, Miss Huff, you just sent me something, but it just says text.
I'll text you my bio.
You just text me text. You
Yeah,
text me. You
yeah,
text me the TEXT.
yeah. It's in your bio. I mean, my bio. I texted to you, and you were saying you was looking for it, and I said text.
Yeah. Go look at what you just text me.
I know.
Look at it.
I know.
You sent me the word text, but you didn't send the bio.
Keep scrolling.
It
I
won't go.
said,
I am as
oh,
far as it go.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm so
Now I think there we go. Here we go. Okay, so we're gonna start with this short introduction. So we are joined today first by Ms. Cheryl Huff. Cheryl serves as the dedicated and dynamic president of the Middle Tennessee National Action Network. That's NAN, a leading organization committed to social justice, civil rights, and community empowerment. Cheryl's journey in advocacy is deeply rooted in her upbringing and values instilled by her godparents, Norma and Darwin Mason, who raised her from a young age. She has become a prominent figure in the Middle Tennessee area, using her voice and leadership skills to address issues of equity, justice, and support for underserved communities. Under her leadership, the Middle Tennessee NAN National Action Network has seen tremendous growth, expanding its initiatives to include events like the Black Diamond Black Tie Ball and fostering meaningful connections with local organizations, leaders, and activists. Cheryl is also instrumental in supporting the establishment of new NAN chapter in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Working to broaden the reach and impact of NAN's missions throughout the state, her unwavering commitment to justice and equality continues to inspire those around her and reinforce NAN's dedication to making a difference at both the local and national levels. So I'd like to welcome you, Ms. Huff, Ms. Cheryl
thank
Huff.
you.
Thank you for gracing our stage with your presence. NAN, National Action Network. It sounds very familiar. Is that Reverend Al Sharpton's
Yes.
organization?
Yes. So he's started in 91.
Okay.
and started this chapter. And then I saw the need here in Nashville, not trying to outdo or do better, just to give our input. And that's why I started the National Action Network here in Nashville.
Okay. All right. So how did that, I mean, like, how did you reach out to Reverend Al Sharpton? Now, he can't be easy to touch, right? So how did that happen? How were you able to make the connection?
So all I did is, again, I saw the need that we needed here to enhance what we already had, like the NAACP, the Urban League, the different organizations that's here. And so I said I wanted to start this chapter so I can bring a force here to Nashville. And so in 21, I started the chapter. We started getting people on board. People was tired of not being heard, and this is a platform where people are being heard, issues are being brought up, and we all tackle those issues together. We do a lot of workshops and do all of that. And so once I started the chapter, and because there was a chapter here in Tennessee now, the national start sending me complaints and issues and topics that was happening in different communities. And so they came and start sending those cases to me. I start getting attorneys on those cases and working with them. And so my first year going to the national convention, we received the chapter of the year award. So we got the chapter of the year award, and then I also got the chapter, the Reverend Al Sharpton award. So when they gave me that award, that brought Al Sharpton in, and he came in to congratulate me, and we had a conversation, and that's how I started communicating with him. And then since we started the work and all of the good work that we do here in Nashville, that put me on a platform with the national. So they have me now. I work with the field department of the national. And I also, last year when I went to the convention, they had me on their national stage talking about, the work that we do here in Nashville and how I'm able to do it. And not only did I just open up the Chattanooga chapter, I got the Memphis chapter and the Jackson chapter, and I'm going to be working in Knoxville getting that chapter open. So that's how we became, and the communication and the connection that we have with Reverend Sharpton personally. So when I was last year, we did the Black Diamond Ball. And I asked him to come to be my keynote speaker, and he was letting the crowd and the people know that he jumped off the plane, came and did this, and had to go back, but he would not let me down, and he had to be here. So he came, and everybody was really excited. So yeah.
Well, that's outstanding. I'm glad to see that you are getting that support from I guess the director himself. Yeah, everybody's familiar with Reverend Al Sharpton and his work in our community. So I'm guessing it's almost like franchising, right? When you franchise a restaurant, you basically you own a McDonald's. So the face of McDonald's is recognizable, and because of that, you're able to sell food and make money, right? And I guess like when you open a chapter of National Action Network, it's like franchising the brand. So it's allowing Reverend Al Sharpton's presence to be in multiple places at one time. You are emissary for what they have going on, right? Because I guess they see that you're in alignment with their mission.
Yes.
But I will say this, right? From what I heard, Cheryl Huff is a fire starter, right? Which is why I have you on here along with our guest who just joined us, and she is the reason that I know you today, and that is LaPortia Peoples.
Yes.
I don't know if LaPortia is ready to come on yet. LaPortia, are you ready yet? I don't think. LaPortia, can you hear me? I don't think the sister is ready yet. So I'll tell you what I do, LaPortia. This is what I'm gonna do. Because I know you can hear me. You're probably not ready, but I'm gonna go ahead and introduce you to our group. All right. So we also have in our presence Mrs. LaPortia Peoples, previously Mrs. LaPortia Hagens. Um, so LaPortia is let me read it how she wrote it. I'm introducing myself. I'm LaPortia Hagens, the wife of Rivera Peoples. I'm a dedicated advocate for criminal justice reform, committed to restorative justice practices. I hold 4 degrees from Arkansas State University. I'm a licensed esthetician and a proud owner of New Skin Aesthetics, LLC. In addition to my advocacy work, I also provide freelance web design services to those negatively impacted by the justice system. Falling in love with my husband and best friend Rivera has ignited a mission within me to advocate for the voiceless. The persistent issues of wrongful convictions and harsh sentences in our community drive my passion to use my energy, strength, and prayers to stand up for those affected by the justice system. Born in a federal prison. So this is one thing about LaPortia Peoples that is so ironic, right? Is she was born in a federal prison. I have dedicated my life to shattering the cycles of injustice that have long plagued our society. My journey has been marked by resilience and determination, fueled by a passion for creating a world where freedom is not only possible, but inevitable. I have worked tirelessly to empower marginalized communities and amplify the voices of those silenced by the criminal justice system. My activism has taken me to the forefront of some of the most critical battles for justice, including marching on Washington, D.C., participating in the Heal People, Empathy on the Heal Week event. I am honored to be a part of the 2024 Dream.org cohort, a testament to my unwavering commitment to justice and equality. Having recently completed the Dream.org Justice Cohort program, I can utilize my skills in advocacy, relationship building, and organization. I have a profound understanding of advocating for justice reform across local, state, and federal levels. My skills in coalition building, policy impact analysis, legislative storytelling, and conflict management equips me to drive meaningful change. I am confident in my ability to thrive in this role and support its mission while building meaningful personal and professional relationships. My story is one of hope and redemption, a reminder that even in the darkest corners of our justice system, there is always the potential for transformation and growth. Through my work, I aim to humanize the justice impacted experience, to bridge the gaps between communities, and to forge a new path forward, one that is rooted in empathy, compassion, and a relentless pursuit of justice for all, embracing righteousness, pursuing justice, and uplifting the oppressed. Welcome to our show, Miss LaPortia Peoples. Unmute yourself. There you go. We still can't hear you, LaPortia. Your volume might be down because you're unmuted. You're unmuted. There we go. No, we still can't hear you. I hear you hitting your keys or something, but we don't hear you talking. Do you have like a mouthpiece or headphones in your computer? I can kind of hear you. I hear you, but you're like far away. So it's something going on with your earpiece. Still nothing.
I'm about to get my headphones.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna bring on Theda Murphy while LaPortia gets ready. So now we're adding to the stage another powerhouse, which we have a bunch of them, right? Let me find my introduction for Miss Theda Murphy. All right, so Miss Theda Murphy is an activist, a counselor, and dreamer. She was born in Chicago in the 60s, and you dating yourself, You know, she was born in Chicago. Hey, look, unmute yourself, Miss Theta. You got your mute on. All right, she was born in Chicago.
I'm old.
Wait a minute, hold on. No, you ain't.
No, in the 60s. And her earliest memories are of rallies, marches, and community advocacy. She is a proud product of Oakwood University and Fisk University, which is in Nashville, both historically Black universities. Her experiences working as a crisis counselor in community mental health and as an advocate for current and formerly incarcerated people has given her a deep understanding of the deficits of the mental health delivery system and how so many of our societal issues have been criminalized instead of being solved. She is currently working as the Middle Tennessee organizer for statewide organizing for community empowerment, SOCM, and as lead organizer for Abolition Works Tennessee, TN, where she uses all of her knowledge and skills towards abolishing the carceral state and healing the harm it has caused. I welcome Ms. Theta Murphy. So Ms. Theta Murphy,
Yes.
we just spoke briefly with Ms. Cheryl Huff. I'm going to ask you a few things about, I know you were from Chicago and you were born and you watched activism on a higher level. So now you're an activist in Nashville. And
Yes.
I had the pleasure of meeting both of you guys at the same event, actually, right? How is it, being, you guys are from different organizations, but you have the same fight, right? So you're in the same circle. You're
we've
always
done a
seeing
lot of
each other.
things together.
Yeah. Okay. So even though you are in different families, you're still working together, right? Cohesively,
Yeah.
you all are working, and this is what our show is about today. Hopefully, Mrs. LaPortia Peoples will be able to work out her technical difficulties, and then we have one more guest that I'm waiting to join on, who is someone that you guys are also familiar with. But right now, we're gonna talk about you, Ms. Murphy. I saw you on I think it was News Channel, not 5, the local news in Nashville, and they were talking about some things about policy. I don't remember what it was, but they happened to interview you.
They were
Is
talking
that
about Trousdale. Yeah.
Trousdale? So we're gonna get so give me 1 second, just so I can show what some of the things that we will be discussing. Let me see if I can bring this up here. Share, present. Actually,
Why are you looking for that? I just want to say I've been knowing Theta for a very long time, and
Yes.
this is my first time knowing that she was from Chicago, born in the 60s.
Wow.
I was born in Chicago, born in the 60s. Wow.
There was a lot going on in Chicago.
A whole lot.
Yeah. So I've noticed that there is a link between Chicago and Tennessee. Like my visits to Memphis and Nashville have all been intertwined with Chicago somehow. Another young lady who was a guest on our show. Well, she was a guest on a different show. Mrs. Carnita Atwater. She is also from Chicago, but she is now in Memphis, and she's involved in the fight there. Dr. Amina Matthews, right? Fort. She's from Chicago, but said she was basically raised in Memphis, and I forgot the name of the neighborhood, right? But so I noticed like there's just this marriage between Tennessee and Chicago. Everybody has ties, sort of like where I'm from. I'm from North Carolina, and Virginia is our neighboring state, and everybody from North Carolina has family in Virginia and vice versa. Yeah, I definitely want to talk about that, how Chicago influences it, but I want to see if LaPortia has been able to get on. LaPortia, are you able to speak yet?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay, I had to put an earpiece in.
Okay.
Hi.
Got you. So all you guys know each other. You're not strangers to each other. And Miss Huff and Miss Theta, you guys can stay unmuted if you want. Like I think you hit your mute, but yeah, Miss Theta, yeah. There we go. All right, and I thought I was gonna be able to share my screen, but evidently, oh, here we go. So I want to. This is what we'll start with. We're gonna start with this guy, right? Let me see. Let me find it. Can y'all see that? No.
Not yet.
All right. Boom. How about now?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, now it's popping up.
There you go.
Yeah.
But that's too much. I don't think it should be showing all of that.
It's just showing us. It don't show what you're trying to show.
Show it.
How about now?
Oh gosh.
You hit us hard.
Yeah, you could have warned us before you said it.
Yeah. Guys, most choked over here.
That's what we're going to start with, right? Because, like we're talking about some of the problems that Tennessee is faced with, right? And part of it is this guy. And whoever wants to start first, and after him, we're going to be talking about this. So we'll just, we'll stay here for now, and we'll touch on this guy, right? So LaPortia, I guess you can start. You're the young one in the group. Who is this individual, Bill Lee, and what does he represent, in your opinion, for the state of Tennessee?
The destroyer of the Black community, the disproportionate community, our Black males. I could go on about him. Bill Lee, wow. Yes. He controls the incarceration rate within Tennessee because of the profiting that he gets back from CoreCivic, private prison. And he finds nothing wrong with that prison. No matter how many deaths are announced, no matter how many family members reach out about their loved ones and tell him about how they don't find out that they passed away until months later, it's not that bad. That's what he says.
Yeah. So I guess it's kind of
he came in.
Go ahead, Ms. Huff.
Can I?
Whoever wants to go next.
Yeah, this is Theta.
Okay.
He came in. He was elected, and came in as a businessman.
Okay.
Who had ties to people who were transitioning out of prison. There was an organization that he's affiliated with that he supported as a private businessman, donated to, and offered a lot of support for, made connections with people who had been coming out, and told them that he was going to be open to reforming the system. And then came in and reneged on all of that.
Okay.
So,
Ms. Huff, I can tell you got something to say.
So I'm going to tell you the story of Bill Lee.
Okay.
So Bill Lee, like Theta said, he owns a business here. He is a heating, air condition. He is the Lee company here in Nashville. Okay. He owns this company, and he services everybody, everywhere. When I tell you he is the playbook of Donald Trump, he had no clue about any of this. And he came in working with everyone. They walked him through the Black community. He said what it's gonna look like when he go in office. It's gonna be mixed. He had the perfect story, which that's from all of our elected officials. When they get started, they going in being real, straight, and what they're going to do. But once he got in that seat, the corruption started. And when it started with him in that seat, in that role, He no longer needed us. Our words, what's going on with him, none of that mattered with him anymore because now he's in the playground with the big boys. And that
Okay.
happened with all of our governors. They start off good, but then they get corrupt as they get in there, and then things shift and things change. And so we have to be really mindful of who we putting in position. I don't care what side of the fence you swing on. But then once he got in there, I'm gonna tell you how bad it was that he no longer had to go out and campaign and do anything to get that second term. He didn't have to do any of that because he walked right in that door. He got it. And he got it hands down. He wasn't coming to talk to anyone anymore because he knew what he have done and he knew we wasn't going to support him. So it didn't matter. So he didn't do anything because his money is in a cookie jar now.
Okay.
Him and the CEO play golf every weekend.
So it's kind of hard to separate Bill Lee from CoreCivic. I thought I would be able to talk about one and no, they're together one, right?
You can't separate any state policy from CoreCivic.
CoreCivic.
And Bill Lee is a very weak governor. It's actually the state legislature that runs the state.
Thank you. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So
and they are bought and sold by CoreCivic.
Yes, they're all intertwined. You can't separate.
So so this is me, right? You know, I'm in North Carolina, but I recognize the problems from in Tennessee on a macro scale, right? And then I started learning that way, and then I learned the bigger picture was okay. You know, when I came into advocacy in Tennessee, it was for individuals incarcerated, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fighter for you know what they say, a black man oppressed in Alabama, California, doesn't matter where, he's still a black man oppressed. So I feel like, you know, I fight oppression in all its forms everywhere. And Tennessee is where I really feel like it really needs it, right? And I've said this before and I'll say it again. Tennessee is the root of hatred because it is the home of the Klan. It's where the Klan was born. It's where they were born. Yep. And I know that a lot of this, you know, a lot of the issues we're having in our state politics and our government politics is based on these people's affiliation with these hate groups. Bill Lee is no different, in my opinion, right? Yeah. So on the surface, we see CoreCivic, right? But below the surface, there's another hand at play, and that's these supremacist organizations, right? They also are puppeteers. They're puppeteers as well in politics on a national level or on a state level. And I can only imagine how it affects the local politics in Tennessee, right? Like, so especially from two individuals who came from Chicago, right? Miss Theda and Miss Huff, you see it differently, right? Because you came from an environment where we had freedom fighters, right? Where we had people who would stand up, and then you came to an environment where they weren't standing up as much, and you came in. Your goal and your role is to help these people stand up for themselves, right? Like, listen, we don't go for this. You can't go for this, and that's what happens when you have larger city. When you have people come from larger cities to smaller cities, they influence it. And what white people would always do was they would try to create a divide by calling these people outside agitators, right? So Miss Theda and Miss my outside agitators, right? I want to ask you, right? You know, like how hard is it to get people to stand up for themselves? And I ask you first, Ms. Murphy, because, you know, like it's a challenge. How hard is it being an organizer, right, to get these people to organize and to stand up?
It is difficult. It's difficult because it's hard to get any measurable change, and people get discouraged by that. And also, people's livelihoods, especially in rural communities, can be easily threatened if they stand up too much and too hard.
Yeah.
In cities, it's a little bit easier for us to do that. And in Nashville and Memphis, you do have communities that the Black community is more organized. We do get wins. They're limited, but they are wins. We have a whole bunch of Black faces in high places, and that's a conversation because all skin folk are skin folk.
Right.
But in rural Tennessee, they don't even have that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It can be really, really difficult to organize.
Okay. All right. Ms. Huff.
So to me, I think people need to be educated. They're starving for some type of conversation and knowing where they need to go. So and like what you just said, when you said that Black people feel that they need white to maneuver around or to get where they need to be, they don't need them, but they have been conditioned to think that, well, we can't say that because you're gonna make him mad, and he don't want to give me my money. Now we have some people that's in these seats in the legislature, in the mayor's office, on the council bench. First of all, you can't send nobody that's broke to those seats because now they're voting paid for. I'm gonna tell you like it is.
Yeah, you're right.
And you can't take, like again with Bill Lee, all of his intentions were real. All of these people that's sitting on these seats, their intentions are real. But once they get in them seats and see how easy it is to funnel money and to get paid under the cup, under the table, and how to you just broke my way and we'll make sure you taken care of. When you start feeling that kind of stuff and that kind of power, and then that's what we have. So we have all of the people, the Black people, like she said, skin color ain't always kin folks.
Yeah.
And that's for real, because once they get in a seat, that stuff changes. It completely changed. Now we had a mayor that was elected that came into our community and everybody rallied around her. Everybody was like, oh my God, yes, because she was for us. And when she got in that seat,
she said she was for y'all.
That's what I'm saying, because they all say the same thing. But when she got in that seat and she felt that power and she felt how important she was, her whole narrative changed. You couldn't call her no more. She didn't want to hear from you no more. Your conversation was not something she was interested in anymore. And guess what? She got beside herself and she got in trouble and she got her power snatched from her. But guess what though? After her 3 years of probation and all this stuff that they give them type of people, she came back into the same community. And asked for this vote again. And everybody put their arms around her again. How many times you gonna screw me with my clothes on?
Once a person shows you who they are, believe them.
You better believe it. The only thing changed on her was her weight. That's the only thing changed. I mean, seriously. But then they wanted to put her in a high seat. Why?
I have something else to weigh in on Bill Lee. So now that Bill Lee has close ties with the CEO of Core Civic, he is now running for governor in 2026. The CEO, Damon Hendricks, I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, but yeah, he is in the pot. They are endorsing him, sponsoring him, as if he really needed, because he profit off of putting us in there. So that's why I make the comment of they play golf together and their kids play and swim together every weekend.
But guess what? If that's news to me. So if we
Yes.
don't get that message out and if we don't let people know, I mean, everybody has to know that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
If he get in there, it's because people didn't know. So we have to
Absolutely.
spread that message, let people know. That needs to go nationwide. We
And
got
you know, we should be ashamed.
The
That would be an easy win.
Civic is now running for
Yes.
governor of Tennessee. Hell, we
Well,
all gonna be in prison.
Yes,
Listen,
we all get locked up.
that would be an
it's a
easy win.
conflict.
We would have to be ashamed of
It
ourselves.
would.
Allow that
It
man to be
would.
governor.
Again, power versus poverty.
Yeah. So talk
Money,
about
time.
that, LaPortia. So all right, we're gonna mention some people real quick, right? I'm an advocate. I'm a huge advocate for criminal justice reform, individuals incarcerated for crazy amounts of time. And in the state of Tennessee, they have an incarceration. They have the zip code with the highest incarceration rate in the United States is in Nashville. Yeah. And you have these private prisons in the state of Tennessee, owned by CoreCivic. Now, mind you, they're supposed to have one. They're supposed to have one. They have 4 in the state of Tennessee. One of the worst prisons in the United States, Trousdale, Turner, right? Everyone knows about Trousdale in the state. It's horrible. I've heard of, the horrible situation, the conditions. One of our guests today, Shauna Hatcher, she's actually probably right now standing getting strip searched getting searched to go see her husband who was housed at Trousdale Turner. So she couldn't come on the show because of that. But she talked about how bad the condition was in the prison and how, it's just, you never heard anything about, like this. It's crazy what happens there. And LaPortia, your husband, Rivera Peoples, was housed at Trousdale for, I think, like 5 years, right? And he wrote a book. He wrote a book called Power versus Poverty about his incarceration at Trousdale Turner. It had that much of an impact on him that he had to write a tell-all. He told everything about this prison. And this book was published in what year, LaPortia?
2022.
2022. And he talked about Bill Lee, and he stated in Power versus Poverty to follow the money. Right. And I don't think that's been done enough in the state, because there's a conflict of interest that lies in the state of Tennessee between Tennessee's policies towards crime and their lack of policies towards crime prevention. Like, they don't care about preventing crime. Preventing crime will affect their bottom line.
That's
right? If your state is invested in the criminal justice in private prisons, then one of the things they need to run private prisons is prisoners, because private prisons have contracts with the state, right? And part of that contract is that they're supposed to have a certain amount of prisoners in their prison at all times.
Yeah.
So I think it's like 95% occupancy rate. And if it drops below that, the state will still be liable and have to pay, because it's they defaulted on the contract or whatever, right?
Yes.
So that's a conflict when you have the private prisons who are investing so much into the governor and
they're also writing legislation. They're not just suggesting it. They're also writing legislation. So a lot of the legislation we see that are keeping people behind bars, they are writing.
Exactly my point. So talk about that, Ms. Peter. What are they doing? Say that again.
They're writing legislation. They give them a template and says, this is the legislation we want to have passed. And they will, and the legislators who are in their pocket will take it and run with it.
Okay.
They won't. It was so bad at one point they didn't make any edits to the template. So they're running the template, the same template that they're running in other states. Exactly. And they don't even try to hide the fact that that's what they're doing.
What? Break that down. So what is the legislation supposed to do?
The legislation is usually um, writing up the hardest, harshest, longest prison terms to keep people incarcerated for longer, make it harder for them to get out, making more things felonies and serious
Mm,
felonies at that,
mhm.
so that people can stay in longer. And they just find all kinds of ways to game the system with the cooperation of our elected officials who are taking donations and money from them.
Like
Exactly.
Mm.
they have to
Exactly.
meet that dead quota between that contract that they have with CDLC.
Okay. All right. So this is why I became a part of Fifth Sun TV, right? This is why I love it, because you won't find these conversations on other networks. You won't find these conversations on your local news. You won't find these conversations on CNN,
That's because
CBS, right?
they own
Right.
the networks and they only put out what they want to put out. And that's why I said
Exactly.
we can keep letting them tell our story, or we need to get our own media and our own radio station so we can tell our own stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we have it now. We have it now, and
Yes.
I really want everyone to share out this this recording. But no, it's not a recording; it's a live streaming. And again, you can watch it on Fifth Sun TV on Roku. So this will be broadcast across the United States and abroad. Right? They can watch this in South Africa if they have Wi-Fi and they have Roku devices. They can watch it anywhere, and this is the beauty because we have our own media outlet now, and we can have these serious discussions. We can call names, we can point fingers, and we can make accusations, right? They can't stop us from this. Telling the truth, right? Which is why I have this background I selected for the day, because this is powerful black women in the Black Panther parties. In I guess this was in the 60s. And the picture speaks you know, like
Right.
this reminds me of the sisters I have on the panel today, right? Because a lot of times they remove our strong men from the battlefield. We're not able to fight. Like I was incarcerated for 17 years, so I was not able to fight. I couldn't get out there. But Portia's husband been incarcerated now, going on 16 years. They're for criminal responsibility. This is something unheard of. He has life plus 100 years for a crime he didn't commit, a murder he didn't commit. How can you get life plus 100 and the actual murderer got 25? I think it was 25. He got 40 years suspended. He got 25 to do for murder, right? I had 30 years for a conspiracy to selling drugs, narcotics. He got 25 years for a murder. But his brother, who was not present at the murder, had nothing to do with the murder, didn't know anything about the murder, got life plus 100 because he
And the
let him use,
youngest
because
Because
he let him use his car.
he didn't take a plea and he wasn't going to shut his mouth and he was going to tell his story. And because of that, I'm going to put you in and I'm going to shut your mouth for you. And now you won't be able to tell the truth to no one. But they had no clue that it was going to come out behind them bars, his story. And that's why they're doing what they're doing. And that's what they do to all of our black men. The ones that they don't buy, they put them in jail. When you get too loud, you get too much knowledge, you have to shut you down some type of way. See, back in the old days, they kill off our black men that had that power. So now in these days, they throwing ours in prison and locking the doors, and now your voice is silent. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Well, it's not completely silent because they're still speaking up.
Yeah. That's because they didn't know I was going to come between them bars.
Yes.
They're speaking. I'm a part of an organization that has just been assembled in the state of Tennessee. It's called Inside Out Consultants Incorporated, where we have a group of individuals in the prison system who want to be a part of the fight. right? And they started an LLC. No, they started a nonprofit organization, and now they're contributing to their community in other ways, right? Through mentorship, through consulting, talking to family members and families about incarceration, what they can do, how we can assemble together, right? This is what Inside Out is about. And I'm honored to be the director of communications for them, right? I speak for.
We have a lot of amazing organizers inside the prison who are really, they can't be silenced. They had the power of truth behind them, so they just can't be silenced.
With life sentences, they got life sentences and they're fighting for other people.
Yes.
Like this. So I feel like I have to fight for them. I have to fight for them. That's why I commend you guys, because you are fighting not only for yourselves, you're fighting for, for people who can't fight for themselves. You're fighting for the people they tried to silence, right? The Rivera peoples of the world. And Sean Hatcher, right? Sean Hatcher has almost an identical case as Rivera peoples. Life plus, I think, 100 or close to 100 for criminal responsibility. And this is a charge that's on the books in Tennessee. Am I saying that right? Is that what it's called? Criminal responsibility.
Criminal responsibility.
So I was in federal prison, and we have what they call a PSI, a pre-sentence investigative report, right? And one of the categories in there was called criminal responsibility. And the criminal responsibility in our PSI, it talked about our past convictions. And they use that to enhance your sentence, right? They use that to put you on different levels. This is when we had the sentencing guidelines, right? I think they've eradicated the sentencing guidelines, or they made it where it's no longer mandatory. They can use it at their own discretion. But I think they need to just take it away, period.
The idea of criminal responsibility in Tennessee is if they can connect you to the person who committed the crime in any kind of way, because that's how they do it. It's in any kind of way. That's your cousin. You talked to him earlier in the day. So now that makes you just as responsible for what happened later in the day when you weren't even there.
Yeah.
So
and the way they couch it, so many people fall for it because it seems plausible. If something bad happened, that person didn't necessarily do it by themselves. They did have people who facilitated and helped and abetted. Well, they should also be punished because they facilitated that. But that is not how it's applied. It is not applied like that. It is applied that anybody who they can pull in who's related to get as many of those bodies on this one charge as they can.
Well, it was originally created for like mob hits.
Yes.
Like, let's say John Gotti was the boss, and he would put a hit on somebody, and Sammy the Bull would take out the hit, right? So Sammy the Bull was a tool in that case, and the person responsible for the murder was actually John Gotti, right? So they created it just like conspiracy charges. So what they would do, they would use certain things to slide these laws under. And then they'll take them and they'll use them in a way it wasn't created for. Conspiracy.
That is not the same as letting somebody borrow your car.
That's right.
It is not the same.
Exactly. But he's been incarcerated for 15 years now, and we're still fighting to get him home. Like Sean Hatcher, same thing. Sean Hatcher's story is almost identical to Rivera's. Right, but how many other young black men are incarcerated in Tennessee right now for that same charge?
A lot.
85%. I looked it up.
And how many white?
1%.
Wow.
But you know what? It's a lot of them that's in prison that they say, oops, they didn't do it. But half of them they done killed. They put them on death row and they killed them. You can't bring them back to life because now, 20 years later, we realize that you didn't do it and we have the real person. Well, you just took a life.
Yeah.
You have these people incarcerated for 20 and 30 years and then find out that the police was
Mhm.
corrupt. The DA was corrupt. The prosecutor, everybody was corrupt in that case. And all kinds of stuff was mismanaged, was not introduced. Something happened. And then they want to sneak you out the back door and say, well, we're going to let you go because we made a mistake. We're going to sneak you out the back door, but don't tell nobody. We're going to give you a couple of dollars and everything going to be good. Everything going to be, because the money, the root to all evil is
Yeah.
that money.
Yeah.
And when you dangle that money in people's face, they go quiet.
Yep.
And that's
Yeah.
where the problem is.
And
That's
also because that's not devastating their communities.
yeah.
That's targeted
Exactly.
to our community.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They don't see that.
No, but
Right.
then now you're just going to release an angry black man because you had him in prison for no reason that was bad.
Mhm.
And you had him in there knowing that he didn't do it. So now you're finna release him back into the society. And now he's angry, he's mad, he broke, he don't have no money. He don't even know what this world is functioning like outside, all of that stuff. But you got people like Rivera.
Mhm.
He stayed on top of everything. So when he comes back out, that's a force to be working with.
Right.
Because he's on his way out.
Oh
Because
yeah.
all this is going to be revealed.
Yes.
But now you can't shut him up, and he's not going to be locked away being quiet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's
We
what
didn't allow them.
that's what they scared of. They trying to figure out we can't, but they don't have to because they know they have nothing.
Yeah.
Yes. He didn't allow them to incarcerate him mentally, though they incarcerated him physically.
That's it.
And that's how you beat the game.
That's
Right there.
Yeah.
That is their number one goal, is to incarcerate you purely mentally. Because they already have you physically by the laws that they circumvent through to get you in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
So
wanna program.
there's another individual. And this case is so egregious, right? I have to talk about it. And I learned of this individual through Rivera Peoples, right? So this goes to show how unselfish, how selfless these individuals are. I'm talking to Rivera Peoples about his case and how what we can do to, get him out. And he's like, man, you got to meet a friend of mine, D-Lo, right? You got to hear about his case. And when I heard about D-Lo's case, his name is Kenneth D'Angelo Thomas. I don't know who's familiar with him. I know LaPorce is familiar with D-Lo.
Mhm.
D-Lo has been incarcerated now 23 years, I think, right? For a murder he did not commit. And they found out 21 years after he was incarcerated, they found out that the evidence was hid by the prosecutor says she didn't know about it, but the agents hid the testimony. So what happened was there was a guy who testified against him. His name was Paul Talley, and Paul, at first, when questioned by the agents, he told them, he knew who committed the murder, and he told them he didn't know his name, but he hung with D-Lo. And they were like, who? They said, huh? They said, yeah, he hang with D-Lo. So the investigation stopped. I mean, the interrogation stopped at that point. They came back. They started the recording again, and I read the transcripts, so I know this. I wasn't told this. I have the transcripts, and they asked him again. They said, "Well, who committed the murder on such and such?" And he said, "Oh, it was D-Lo, right?" So now his story has changed from he knew the guy, he hung with D-Lo, to it was D-Lo, and this happened during the time when they took him in. And they cut the thing off. So the first part where he said it was another guy, that vanished.
Oh,
That part of the interview vanished for 21 years. For 21 years, it was hidden. When D-Lo was able to finally hire another post-conviction attorney, the post-conviction attorney found that hidden evidence at the prosecutor's office. It was at the prosecutor's office. So they have what they call discovery evidence. If I went to trial, so you're granted discovery. That's everything that they have against you, right?
Yep.
So this attorney went and got the discovery. And when he got the discovery, this was in the file. What happened was you guys' prosecutor left. I think his name was what's his name? The prosecutor, he was a bad prosecutor, and they cleaned out everything out of the and brought in a new regime. And when they brought in this new regime, that other prosecutor left the stuff behind, and that's where it was found at. But the prosecutor said she didn't know it was in there. How did you not know it was in the file? She knew it was in the file.
Of course.
Yeah.
That
So
sounds like
now,
story.
if you have a corrupt prosecutor who's willing to do that in this one case that we know of, how many other cases has this happened in? Right?
Listen. So I don't know if you all saw the stuff that happened here last year with a young lady. Her name was Taylor, and she had a daughter named Iris. And they put a Amber Alert out for Iris. They did all of this kind of stuff, right? Now, this is what Tennessee did, because the father was a white guy, the mother was black. The father came into Tennessee and said, I want my daughter back. My daughter's mama took my child. Now she's been here over 6 months, registered in school, doing everything, right? No one never listened to her story. We hired an attorney for her. Nothing was ever done with that case. Nothing, not with her. They heard everything he said, and he wasn't saying anything. It was these corrupt attorneys, the DA, the FBI, the TBI, all of them got involved because this white man came to Tennessee with a half a piece of paper and said, I want my daughter. They did all of this. Guess what happened?
What?
Tennessee said, now the young man has died. The dad has died on a motorcycle that he shouldn't have been driving with no license, and he was drunk. So he done had a wreck and killed himself. Now the mother came back and said, I want my child. So what you just said, the prosecutor, all of them was removed out of the office and a whole new regime came in. Inside of the files, I told the grandmother and the mother, go and take them everything you have. Show her everything that's Kayla's case. You know what the new DA said? Why nobody ever looked at this? Why nobody ever read this? Here's the mother's petition saying that she had full custody of this child. Nobody never ever read it. They only listened to what he said because he was white and his word was concrete gold. Now they just Monday will be going to court in California and they dismissing the whole thing. But the damage already been done.
Yeah.
That's what Tennessee said. We didn't do it. We didn't have nothing to do with it. We didn't have a case on her. We didn't do the Amber Alert. They backpedaling now. But that's what they do. They hide evidence. They don't give the correct information, and our people are the ones that suffer.
Yes.
But we have to stand up. We have to.
And now the Department of Justice is involved in Tennessee. They're there. They're investigating CoreCivic, right?
Well,
but
no, I believe the investigation is done because they levied a fine on them.
That's right.
Again,
which they're going to pay, and I think it's done.
And
they put them on probation. I think what is it, 90 days or something? No, a year or something.
Yeah.
So what do you do when the organization or the group of the government organization that is responsible for I guess policing corruption? What do you do when they don't do anything? What are we supposed
There is no oversight over Tennessee prisons. There is no independent oversight.
You have to keep it in the public's eye. You have to let the public be the prosecutor. You have to let them tell the stories, and then maybe you're gonna get these white people that's blind to everything and don't hear it, and then it start hitting home. It start hitting home because all of this, I'm gonna give you a fine, I'm gonna do all of this. None of that means absolutely nothing.
Where does the fine go? Where does the money? Their fines.
CoreCivic. It goes to CoreCivic.
like Rivera made a point. Follow the money. We need to find out where this fine money is going, because it's not going to the community that it's affecting.
No.
Core Civic violating this this one prison mandate, right? And the way they're doing it, and by saying they're contracting with the county. The county is subordinate to the state. So if the state is supposed to have one core civic prison or one private prison, that falls on the county too. The county is inside of the state and is subordinate to the state. You feel what I'm saying? It's like a cell within a body.
First of all, there is no independent body that provides oversight for prisons. We have fought that fight and lost it. So there is none.
There's supposed to be a federal body, and that federal body is the Department of Justice.
Well, who controls that now?
Donald Trump.
Okay, so that's not an option anymore.
Not a problem.
This is a conspiracy theory. This is my theory. What's happening now is that Donald Trump has put all of these new DOJ people in there because what they did to him, how they came after him. He saw the corruption that was happening. So he getting rid of all of that corruption. And then people like Rivera's, and all of these other people that's in prison that shouldn't be in there. Donald Trump already knew because he was going to be a part of that. So I'm thinking, it's only in my head, is that he's going to go and get rid of all of them people that was corrupt, that was doing this to people. And then he going to go back and get all of them people that he putting in place that have no clue about nothing, but they going in there with clean eyes and they're going to see something different. And there's going to be a lot of people getting out of jail. Now, that's just how I feel. That's what I'm thinking is about to happen.
I think there's going to be a lot of people getting out of jail.
That, except that those folks are motivated by money. And it's still a whole lot of money putting people in prison.
But they got to learn the game. They don't know the game. All of these people are new people coming in and don't really know how the game is. Now, the people that's been in position for billion of years, they know the game. They know how to be corrupt. They know how to put people in jail because, like you just said, Tennessee have a contract that they signed that I guarantee you that we'll keep them beds full. Now, so they putting people in jail and putting people in prison, and then they saying you are waiting your trial. I'm gonna slow walk that trial as long as I can. And it's years and years and years before people even go for a trial for a hearing, because that means that bed is being occupied. You get $80,000 per person for each bed.
Yes, and they're still going after the babies.
Yes.
They are changing all these laws that make it easier to charge children as adults.
That's right.
Yes. One particular law is the gun law.
Harder for them to get out once they're in there.
Yeah.
So one of the solutions I see, right, that I don't see happening yet. Remember, I'm an outside agitator too, right? So when I come into situations, you see what my name said, professional problem solver. The first thing you got to do in order to solve a problem is identify it, right? So I identify problems, and that came from me being incarcerated. When I was incarcerated, I was what they called the speaker, right? So I spoke for my group, my people. So being a speaker, you're always faced with problems, like every day. Man, they coming to me, oh man, such and such did this, such and such did that, and you got to figure out what we gonna do about it, what we gonna do about this. So I always solve problems in there. I play chess daily. All I do is play chess. Like when I get off of here, I probably play some chess. It helps me with creative thinking, right? So I'm used to solving problems fast. I play on the clock, right? So when I went to Memphis, Nashville. When I went to Nashville first, then I went to Memphis, right? I'm analyzing and I'm seeing the difference, right? And I'm meeting all these different people from these different groups, right? Like everybody on here is from a different group, right? And the other guests that I had, they weren't able to come on. They were from different groups as well. Free Hearts. So we don't have Free Hearts on right now. Dawn Harrington hasn't been able to get on for some reason. And I've been waiting on her, but it's not going to happen. So all of these organizations need to come together and form a body. right?
Yeah.
Right. So you maintain your presence in doing what you're doing, right? But when we come together and form one body, it makes us stronger. Remember that Black Power symbol, it symbolizes together, right? We're stronger together. I can smack you, you know what I'm saying, and it'll sting, you know what I'm saying. But if I punch you, it's gonna really hurt, right? So that's what I'm seeing we're not doing. So we have to collectively attack, right? If we attack, if Nan attacks them, and then Free Hearts attacks them, and then Moms and all these different organizations, right, attack, it's like little punches. It's like, that hurt, that stings. But if they all come at you at the same time, now you have a collective of organizations working together to attack the institution.
But-
Now
Well, one
it's
thing I can say about us in Tennessee is that we do come together
Yes.
to work on things. I mean, that was why we were able to pass the constitutional amendment that abolished slavery, that took the 13th Amendment exception out of our state constitution, because we all work together. Cheryl and I worked together to get the Community Oversight Board in Nashville passed, and the whole community came together and did that. So, we know how to do it.
That's one thing, and that is so true. One thing you can't say about Nashville that you could probably say about any other state, that when we come together, we come together. Now we can
fight like brothers and sisters, but we come together.
You can come. We gonna argue and fuss with each other. We gonna do that, but ain't no outsider coming in here doing
That's
nothing.
right.
Because then we all gonna come together. So we
true.
got that fist.
That's Nashville. That's Nashville.
But that's where it matters the most.
Yeah, no, hold on. Yeah, Nashville is
That's
the
where
state
it
capital. What I'm saying is,
It starts
have you
locally.
been to Memphis?
Right.
Have you been to Memphis? So this is why I'm saying. So Memphis is very different. Remember, I'm an outsider, right? So when I went to Memphis, there was a noticeable difference, right, in Memphis and Nashville.
Oh yeah.
Like Nashville, you're right. Nashville, it's a lot of boots on the ground, a lot of fighters, right? And you would think it would be even more so because Memphis has a higher concentration of Black people than Nashville. Nashville is like 37%. White is like 38%. So y'all right there, right? And then you have Asian and Latinos, but in Memphis, it's like 60% Black.
Well,
So
let me put some context on Memphis.
Thank you.
okay.
Come on.
Let's do this.
Memphis is in West Tennessee.
Okay.
That's the blackest part of the state.
Oh, we got Dawn, y'all.
Hey, and Dawn is right there. Okay, we were just about to talk about West Tennessee, Dawn. Like, where do I go again?
You here now, sister. You here now.
So y'all give me a second. Let me give Dawn her flowers real quick.
Mhm.
Because I'm big on giving flowers, right?
Hey, Carlos.
And it's nice to meet you,
Hold
Dawn, Miss Harrington. I've heard a lot about you.
Nice to meet you too, Carlos.
All
Hey,
right, so let
Carlos,
me.
can you have, if we all put our phone on mute, we can hear a little better.
Okay, let me mute y'all for a second while I talk. All right, so Dawn Harrington is the executive director of Free Hearts and the special projects manager for the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls, in which she helps. I lost my spot. Hold up. In Women and Girls, in which she helps coordinate the international network of formerly incarcerated women. During her incarceration, Ms. Harrington was disturbed by the impact of incarceration on families, especially women and children, and inspired to make a difference upon her release. Dawn Harrington does local, state, national, and international abolitionist work led by women and girls. Welcome, Dawn, to our show. And we've been on now for an hour, but I just spoke you up. And we've been cooking, right? We've been cooking. We talked about a number of things about Tennessee, but your timing is perfect. Your timing is perfect, right? So first, I'm gonna let you tell us about Free Hearts because I literally just spoke about Free Hearts, and I spoke about how, you know, the different groups, if they would come together and work as a team, they could really make some changes in the state of Tennessee, right? So tell me a little bit about Free Hearts and, you know, how it came to be.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me, Carlos. So Free Hearts, when we first started, like you said in the intro, I was incarcerated. I had the vision to start Free Hearts. I used to work in the music industry. And you know, I came out and then I just went back into the music industry. I just wasn't, you know, thinking about Free Hearts. And so you know, but it's one of those things where you have a vision to do something and nothing is going right anymore until you actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those things. And so eventually the last group that I was working with was Trill Entertainment. And eventually I was just like, you know what? I'm going to come back to Tennessee and start trying to figure out how to build out Free Hearts.
Okay.
Well, ended up getting with other formerly incarcerated women, and we started in 2015 really just trying to plan out like what it was going to look like. And so what we do now, basically, a lot of the things that we said we were going to do in the beginning that we wanted to do when we were planning, you know, 10 years ago, when we were planning this organization out, a lot of the things that we wanted to do, we're doing now. But at the time, we were like, okay, we don't have capacity to do this. You know, a lot of us were, you know, working 3 jobs or day labor, homeless, or trying to get children back and things like that. And so we were like, you know, what we have the capacity to start off doing is we're just going to start off organizing. We're going to pick, like, we wanted to do the jail and the prison at first, but they didn't let us into the prisons at first. And so we started off in the jail and strictly just, you know, going in, talking about, you know, what's the problems, what's the solutions, and what we're going to do about it, until they end up being like, look, y'all need some kind of like class curriculum program or something, because we were just strictly organizing at first. And we still, you know, have built out a lot of the work by being able to go on the inside and organize. But now we built out to where we're also like forming cooperative businesses. We've been able to, you know, change 3 laws and, you know, working on change, and we'll also change a lot of local policies, get federal appropriation, and just a bunch of different things in addition to like the reentry work, the, you know, free the vote work, and just the whole other host of things that we're doing right now. But the main core strategy is and has always been to organize, to build power, because that's what we need to really get everything that we want, which first and foremost is freedom.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Thus the name Free Hearts.
Yes.
Yeah. So I appreciate you. I've been I haven't met you, but I've been working closely with one of your organizers, Ms. Jada X. That's my sister.
Yes.
You know, she's a soldier, along with so many other women, right? So first, like I say, I like to give flowers, and I just want to give all of you guys your flowers, man, because like I said, you've been on the battlefield, you've been in the trenches. A lot of us have been away. Dawn, you know what it's like to be away. I was away for 17 years, which is not, well, it seems like a lot, but not when I got a friend who's been in there now for 30 years and they haven't cracked the doors for him yet. So I continue to fight for those who are, you know, still in the trenches, right? Like we're no longer there, but we can't forget about the people we left behind. And that's part of the reason why I started this work and became a reentry advocate. But I absolutely love everything you guys are doing. Free Hearts, Nan, Mom. So I do plan to do a part 2. And when we do the part 2, we'll have another group of sisters on here, and they all represent other organizations as well. I want everybody to have an opportunity, but it's important for you guys because we got something coming up, and I'm going to take you off mute now. We got something coming up on the 25th, and I wanted to do this to give us an opportunity. LaPortia, you can unmute yourself, to give us an opportunity to talk about this important event coming up in Nashville on the 25th. If anybody would like to share, because I want the world to know that we're about to run up on these people at the Capitol building or whatever, right? And what exactly is taking place the 25th? Ms. Huff, you know? You don't know? Well, Miss Theta, help me out.
So we must be talking about the Free the Vote.
Yes, we are.
Convening on the 25th down at the state capitol. And I have not been involved in the planning. I think Dawn would be the best person to talk about that.
Right.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying.
Yes. So legislative session is in, and this is the opportunity, every year there's policies that could free our folks, that could give people some relief, that could make the system more just, but we actually need to have the power and come down there and really make our voices heard and make them actually do it from the point that they work for us, not the other way around.
Okay.
And so on the 25th, it's both the Free the Vote Lobby Day, and it's conjoined also with the Inside Outreach Justice Reform Lobby Day. And so it starts off at 9 o'clock at the Cordell Hull building, which is where the Tennessee legislature is. And it's going to be the Free the Vote breakfast from 9 to 10:30. And then after that, it's legislative meetings and committee hearings and things like that. And then at 3 o'clock, it's going to be a press conference, the Inside Outreach Justice Reform press conference, where we're going to be talking about families and loved ones, going to be talking about the issues and the different bills that they really want to see passed this legislative session. And so this is one of many, because if they know that we coming, just one time a year and that's all they got to worry about, then they could just, let the clock time out. But this is just really the launch of week after week, people coming up there, and then into March also having it even bigger. So this is the launch of us. We ain't letting up on you. You're gonna see us, and it's just gonna continue to escalate from there. So this Tuesday, be there at Cordell Hull building. Like I said, we'll be down there at 9 o'clock at the legislative lounge, having breakfast, talking about the bills, talking about how to advocate to the legislators and things like that. And then it ends at 3:45, there's going to be the press conference in the press conference room, and it's over with at 4:30. So definitely come out. And even if you can't come this week, just plug in and get involved, because like I said, it's going to be week after week building up. And so actually we have this text code where you can text ACTION to 877-740-5099. That's if you want to get involved, period. But also for the lobby day, if you're able to join, you can just text justice to the same number, 877-740-5099. Again, that's justice to 877-740-5099. And then that way you can get all the updates and things like that about the lobby day.
Okay. So now you can ask me that question again.
Is that right? Is that right? Did I get it right? 877-740-5099.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
So
Yeah,
I was coming home yesterday from, we had our leadership workshop, and we had Chattanooga, Memphis, Jackson, and Nashville all together. On my way home, one of the ladies that live on my street that's a part of this, she just sent me that, was telling me about this and asked me if I can be there with you all on Tuesday. I didn't know what she was talking about, but I said yes. So yes, I do know about it. Yes, I am going to be there. And then I told her to put me on there to speak. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I
so
got it now.
that's good, and you can unmute yourself whenever you want, Don. So there are I want to mention all of, like, we got boots on the ground, we got fighters, man, and so the fighters that I know of in Nashville outside of yourselves are Shauna Hatcher, who's not able to come on because she's currently going to visit her loved one who's incarcerated. Sister, Sister Atwater, Carnita Atwater. She's in Memphis. LT. I don't know if y'all know LT. That's my guy in general, right? LT, Big Fridge. It's so many people that I met in Nashville. I was embraced in Nashville. I love Nashville now. And like I say, they're boots on the ground. Memphis is they're starting to come together. There are organizations in Memphis. I forgot all the organizations in Memphis. Oh my God, they're gonna be mad at me. But we just had a march on Memphis that was organized also by Inside Outreach. Inside Outreach in Consultants Incorporated, right? And I'm the director of communications for them. So I would be there, Don, but my wife's birthday is the 24th, so I can't come out on the 25th. I gotta celebrate my queen, my earth, right? Like I said, I like these flowers. Yeah.
No, that's right. Look, first things first.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Right. So I do a lot of things in a lot of organizations. So when I'm doing something for other organizations, that's time away from my family, right? So they have to unselfishly allow me to share myself, right? So whenever it's their turn, that's their turn, So I focus on them. So even though her birthday is gonna be celebrated for like 5 days, we're celebrating it now, right? Yeah.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
Yeah, thank you.
A happy wife is a happy life.
Exactly. I learned that a long time ago. But I hopefully these other individual groups will be able to come out. NAACP, Jarvis, Turnley, I've met a lot of individuals out there who are fighting. I don't know how well they all work together, but I hope that they see the importance of this day on the 25th. Like you said, legislation is paramount, right, to getting any type of change. Is there anything that you want to discuss that you guys will be specifically attacking, like criminal responsibility, the life sentences issue, or what will it be?
Yeah, absolutely. So those are two things, like separate acts, separate facts is the end felony murder and criminal responsibility. And like, this is our third session trying to run this bill, and we finally like getting some momentum on it. In a state like Tennessee, it takes a while, but you have to steadily build the groundswell, steadily build it up. So separate acts, separate facts is that bill. Also, like you said, the life sentence bill. Also this year making a debut is second look legislation, which is basically a mechanism to kick things back to the court, get them to look back at it if you've done over 10 years of time or something like that. And we're seeing bills like that in multiple states across the country right now. And so reintroducing one here. We also have, let me see. We also have some closer to home bills. Shout out to Unheard Voices Outreach that introduced that. And I can give some of these bill numbers as well, which facilitates the transfer of incarcerated people to correctional facilities that are closer to their families to strengthen the bonds and things like that. Like, for example, Jada X, our statewide organizer, who you mentioned, like her son is like over 7 hours, like from the furthest part of the state away that you can be. So this is really about getting closer to your loved ones, as well as the bill to help with people that are on parole that have financial hardship on paying the fees as well. They also introduced that, as well as the license bill. But
Okay.
on the other side, say that again.
No, I said okay.
Yeah. And so I'll give some of these bill numbers, but on the other side of things is voting rights, because and it's really foundational to everything that we're trying to do. And so when we first started going into the legislature, like I said, we started off in Nashville. We started off organizing in the jails, and folks was like, you know, the way that our power is held in the state, it's like 93% rule. And when you go in front of these legislative committees, it's like the majority of them are from smaller rural towns and making a bunch of decisions that impact the urban communities. And so when we first started going in there to the legislature, they were like, our constituents don't want this. Our constituents don't want this. And so we like called that bluff. We're like, okay, we got pushed out into like a rural part of the state on one of the campaigns that we were doing. And although it was a place that we typically would have been like, yeah, we trying to be out of here by sundown, and you know, there was Confederate flags and stuff, but the level of poverty that they was in, the fact that they was impacted by incarceration, we like they was down bad. So we like, well, shoot, this is who they hiding behind. Well, if that's the case, we can actually go out and organize statewide, and that's what really built out our statewide strategy. But then as soon as we started building up momentum, and now we got their constituents and things like that, then it started being like, well, yeah, Free Hearts, yeah, they do got a lot of people contacting me from my district, but I looked them up and can't none of them vote. And so the fact that, you know, we're counted in their districts, but it's a mass voter suppression scheme that's going on in Tennessee. We're now number one in the country for felony disenfranchisement, but we've been number one in the country for the disenfranchisement of Black and Latino voters. And so a big part of our power is just being stripped away by the mass incarceration turned to the mass disenfranchisement scheme. And so, and as we've been working on it, the restraining forces of power have really made it 100 times. Like they rolled us all the way back on voting rights to now. You got to go to court. You got to basically have a lawyer. You got to testify about everything. And then you got to pay, you know, and then at the end of it, they can decide whether to do it or not. And then to make matters worse, now you have to get your gun rights back, to get your voting rights back, which essentially bars everybody that had a violent felony conviction or a drug conviction. But it's meant to build a lot of power behind it. So the voting issue is really foundational, because when you know, a lot of the criminal justice reform we're trying to do, if a big population that's impacted by these issues can't even vote, then the people that got to go up for election every 2 and every 4 years that make these decisions, they don't feel like they got to listen to our issue, because the people that's impacted by it can't vote. And so there's some voting bills as well that we're getting behind. So again, if you text that action to 877-740-5099, we can get you all the bill numbers. We can get you, you know, just keep you in the loop of all the ways you can plug in, not just on the 25th, but going hard this whole legislative session.
Got you. All right. So I'm in North Carolina, and I've been home now 9 years, and I voted every year. Right. And I was surprised. I didn't know we automatically got our right to vote back. But in North Carolina, we get every right back but our gun rights. And that's something that probably takes 10 years to get back. And You know, I'm working to get mine back now, right? I need to be able to protect my family. But the fact that you guys can't vote was another thing that I felt like it was shocking to me. I'm like, they can't vote. You know, like I didn't realize that there are certain states that you can't get your voting rights back after incarceration. And I'm fortunate enough to be in one of the states where you can. But I'm trying to unmute you guys, right? Unmute yourself if you got. So you mentioned so much, right? How do people support bills when you introduce bills? How do you support a bill? How can they get behind you and help you to push it through?
Yeah, absolutely. And then again, I keep giving a nod to this text action because it's a variety of things you can really do. One thing is like going to the legislators, telling your story. You don't even have to go to Nashville because I know some of the time people, you got to go down there, you got to park, all this stuff, pay, and this, that, and other. You can tell them, look, let's meet on Zoom. Let's have a phone call. Let me tell you, what my issues are. You don't even got to come down there to do that. But there's a lot of other things that you can do. You can write an op-ed. You can do that from the inside. You can write an op-ed and get it placed in the papers where the legislators sit at. You can write a letter to the editor. Some of those smaller towns, they may not have like opinion pieces, but you can write a letter to the editor. You can knock doors. We do this every legislative session. We have people in their districts to knock doors, letting people know, because a lot of times they benefit from people not knowing what's going on. It may impact them, but by the time they find out, the law done already changed. It's too late. So we get out there in the community, knock their doors, and let them know what's going on. Help them get to Nashville if they need to. We text people, we phone bank, and we always need people to help knock doors, text, phone bank. And now we actually have this platform. Shout out to our brother Desmond Meade in Florida, that we have basically people that we know are formerly incarcerated. It ain't just the van, the van that has the voters and stuff like that. We have kind of like a van for people that are formerly incarcerated, that we can actually knock the doors on our people and let them know, hey, you need to join this movement. And these are the things that are happening right now that's impacting all of us. And so we always need people to text bank, phone bank, door knock, like I said, you can call or have meetings with legislators, but you can also write them a letter, write them an email and stuff like that. They got to record all of that stuff. And so it's really, a range of things that you can do. I can go on and on, but if you text action, then it'll give you some of those ideas and you can just see where you want to plug in.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you can also get your churches, your club groups, your families. You can reach out to your networks and get them involved in doing all of this also, which is really, really important, especially in rural communities, to have faith communities and churches involved with this.
And what Don was saying, when the legislators were saying that their community and people don't want to get involved with that, they're not interested in that, don't face them. But then when you went in there, it did, and they wanted that, and they needed that. That is what we have to do. If we go out into the room, you'll never know how many Blacks and people that live in those rural areas, and this information they're needing. But Don, I wanted to know if it's some way that we can all come together and do a big old training on legislative, or so the people will understand it and know exactly what bills are, how you write bills, how bills are being paid. I have so many people calling, asking if we want to do that, how can we get involved? How can we get this information? And what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely, Cheryl. I think we need, because that's the leadership development that every session we try to do, but it needs to be mass. It needs to be mass. And so, yeah, I'm down, however we want to do it, but it's definitely something that's needed because around when we started going in there, it's like very few people like engaged, and now people are like, I see what's going on, like I want to get involved, like up there at the legislature. So we need to like spread it out far and wide, so that as many people, because it ain't just enough to say, okay, just come and do this, and you don't know, like for people to know you start at A, you go to Z, how does this work? Because sometimes people will be like, man, they in a state prison, they like, man, I want to get out, and I wonder if Trump would give me that pardon. It's like it's the it's your state governor that's going to give the clemency or whatever, which is also something that we're always pushing. And so it's very important, political education, leadership development. So absolutely, Sheriff. We definitely need to do something like that.
But I want to get it started, get it put out there. We have and I know you all do too, have chapters and people in all parts of Tennessee, and I just want to get it out there now and do a mass workshop via Zoom. They don't even have to come in person. Let's do a Zoom and see what we can put together and get them out there, because this is education that they need to know.
Absolutely.
Right, let's make that happen.
Let's do it.
These are the discussions and conversations I like to hear. This is how you move. This is how you move forward. And we got some big organizations, not just in Nashville, but globally. So I look forward to it. I look forward to these people learning. I know that the organization I'm a part of would love to partner with, helping to bring that to fruition, and that's the outreach consultants. Outreach. I can never think of
Inside Outreach. Inside Outreach.
Consultants Incorporated, right? They would love. I know they're going to already say yes to helping to sponsor said, collective. But is there anything else that anybody else would like to talk about or discuss? Like, we've hit a little bit of everything in the state, man. Before you came on, Dawn, we talked about Bill Lee. We didn't talk about Cameron Sexton and LaPortia. I know that's somebody that that's a name that you would probably love to.
That's the real governor of the state,
right?
Cameron Sexton.
I'll let you break us. Go into that, LaPortia. Cameron Sexton.
All right. So maybe 2 years ago, he was asked by a journalist about preventing crime, and he stated that that's a conversation for another year. Well, of course, he's going to say he get incentives from the incarceration of our people being incarcerated in those private prisons. So he has to meet that quota also, or he don't get paid. So that conversation probably will never happen with him. For him to say that's a conversation for another year, he didn't even put a date on it.
Okay. All right.
But did we force his hand? We can't let him just take that conversation and leave it there. We should have forced his hands and made him tell us what's another day. So now we got to revisit it, go back and put that back on his table. But this time we need to do it where the whole public and everybody can see it and hear it.
Yeah.
Put him in the corner.
Yeah.
They got a saying, right? And that I use frequently, right? Is that you teach people how to treat you. That's right. So if I mistreat you and you don't check it, then I know I can get away with that with you, right? Because you let me do it, right? So with our government, our local government, it's the same thing, man. If our policymakers mistreat us, right, then we need to check it. So that type of behavior needs to be checked. How do we check it? We don't vote for them, right? We push to get them out of office, right? Those are the things we got to apply pressure, because if not, he's gonna think, okay, well, I did this. There's nothing happened behind it. I'm okay. They okay with me treating them like that.
Right, and now he's running for governor, so that is completely right. If they didn't say nothing,
so hold up. We got the guy from. You got Cameron Sexton is the one. That's not inclusive.
No, and the
Okay.
CEO of Core Civic Gaming, he's running for governor as well.
Well, I know somebody
Because
else who's
Bill Lee
running.
can't run another term.
I know
Yeah.
somebody else who's running for governor, and that's
Mhm.
Dr. Carnita Atwater, right?
Yes.
so now Dr. Carnita Atwater is running for governor, right?
Mhm.
And what this is what Dr. Carnita Atwater said. When she ran for governor, she got votes from places she didn't think she would get votes, but she didn't get votes in Memphis,
Who
right?
is
And that's
she?
part, huh?
Who is she?
You need to go look her up. Dr. Carnita
See,
Atwater.
but that's not the answer.
She's
not
not.
the answer.
I'm gonna tell you this. This what the answer is. She's not Bill Lee, and she's not Cameron Sexton, and she's not the head of Core Civic. So if you're not familiar with her, she is the owner of the African American Museum in Memphis, Tennessee. Right? She is an advocate for justice. She is somebody who will fight on our behalf. She is somebody who doesn't.
See, this what we do. This what happens here. And I'm just telling you like I see it and you know, take it as it is. First of all, just because we black people and then we go and say this is the person that's gonna run. I've never heard of her. So if I haven't heard of her, a lot of people haven't heard of her. That means what is she doing for all of us to hear of her? Because we get people, and she might be the perfect person, but we have a monster money machine that will outdo anybody that's running for governor, and that's why they always get it, because we put our votes and put our stuff behind people just because they're black or just because they're a woman, because that's how we lose every time.
Ms. Huff.
I'm hearing you.
So Ms. Huff, I don't know if you really know who I am, right, as a person, right?
Who?
But you're me.
Mm-hmm.
Me. So I do homework on people.
Okay.
I meet people. I don't put the cart before the horse at no time, right? Remember I told you I was incarcerated for 17 years. So we move a lot differently in there than they move out here. We vet people.
Okay.
We vet people. So nobody gets by me unvetted, right? So I don't speak on a person I haven't vetted. So I can assure you, I've done my homework. That's why when you asked me who she was, I was like, you need to go look her up, right? Because me telling you is not going to be enough for you, right? So I would say before you say anything, because this is someone that I'm pushing for, you know, like, okay, these are the problems you're having. This is one solution. If you have a better one, let me know.
Listen, I'm not right. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that when we put somebody in the front and said this is the person that's going to represent us all, everybody needs to know that this person is 10 toes down and they gonna do what they have to do. They got the finances, they got the people, they have the education, they have everything that we know that this person gonna make it. This person going to get out there. That's all I'm saying, because people like Bill Lee and Cameron Sexton and all of these people that pocket is real deep, they ain't never have to say a word, and they just gonna walk up in there just because of that. But if we have somebody that you said is powerful, she's good, her pockets is deep, her people are deep, and then let's put her on here. Let's see what we have. That's all I'm saying.
That's what I'm trying to do right now.
Well, let's do it.
That's what I'm trying to do right now.
Let's do it.
Right. So I'm trying to provide some exposure to somebody that people might not know about. Right. So LaPortia knows her. LaPortia I know her, right? So I don't know if anybody else on the panel has met so you know Dr. Atwater, right? So now what I'm saying is I want other people to be familiar with this lady.
We need to get her and put her and let everybody in the whole state of Tennessee know her.
That's what I'm trying to do. That's why I'm using this platform and I'm saying her name. And if you was running for office, I'd be saying Cheryl Huff, right? So one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna support you until you give me a reason not to, right? Until I see a reason. If I see a crack in your armor or if I see flaws, right, then I might back off, right? But up until then, we have options. We have to weigh our options.
So,
Our
and
options
let me
right
tell you
now-
about Nashville.
What's that?
We don't play.
I know that.
And if
I
you
know
put
that.
somebody on a panel and you put somebody up there that's gonna represent us all, they're gonna have to
Yeah.
go through a firing storm because people gonna want to know who, where, why, when. They're gonna want to know it all. So
Yeah.
let's start right there.
Oh, I love the people of Nashville, right? It's like like I said, they took care of me in Nashville, right? I felt good. I felt protected. I felt safe, right? You know, they took care. They made sure I was good in Nashville, and I went twice. The Portia tell me my first experience was nothing like my second. The second experience, it was I loved it. I loved that. I can't wait to come back, right? But you know, Memphis was a little different. Memphis was a little different. I will say that, right? Memphis is different. It's not Nashville. There's too many gorillas running around Memphis, right? So it's kind of hard. Like even if they had, I mean, you know, even the ones who can vote, right? How do you get them to vote if they ain't thinking about what's happening? Like it's that Memphis has a different problem. Memphis has a different problem, right? It's a socio-economic issue they're dealing with, and it's an education issue, right? Nashville is a lot more refined, in my opinion. Again, I'm an outsider looking in, and when I noticed the two differences between the two cities, right? And there's a big difference. There's a big difference. I love Nashville. Absolutely love Nashville. Right. So
Memphis, you know, is now the biggest Black city in the country as well. So you know, it's a lot of that too is what you notice is by design.
That's
It's totally by design. It is the most underfunded part of the state.
But it's not true. I don't know why they're sharing that. Philadelphia is a lot larger than Memphis, right? Washington, D.C. is slightly larger than Memphis. Both of those are predominantly Black cities. And when I was in Memphis and I heard the mayor say that, right, because they have a Black mayor, and we marched. I don't know if you guys know, but we marched from 201 Popular, which is the jail in Memphis, right? We marched from there to the Civil Rights Museum. And when we went there, the mayor was speaking at the Civil Rights Museum, and he said that. And when he said that, I was like, we are now the large, but they're not. The population of Memphis the population is not over 1 million people. Philadelphia is over 1 million, and it's 55% Black, right? DC is 60% Black. Baltimore is, I forgot, but I think Baltimore is slightly smaller than Memphis, right? But Memphis is like third, but they're not first.
Well, they're saying census or whatever, because like you're saying that 631,000 people is the Black population of Philly, but 631 something thousand, but 632,000 is the Black population of Memphis, and so you know it's grown like the amount. It's supposed to be number one now. But who knows? Because the other thing is not everybody fills out the census and all that. Because even some of our Black, like for example, where I am right now, I live in a majority Black city in Tennessee, Jackson, and they a lot of it, the estimate of the amount of Black people that are in these cities. When you go by the census, sometimes those numbers ain't exactly right, but it's according to the numbers. Memphis is number one right now.
Okay, so now you clarified it for me. I got it. So even though Philly is a larger city, Memphis has a larger population of Blacks than. Okay, got
But
you.
look, that's the same thing that they say, because there's no way right now today can nobody tell me that 37208 is the most mass incarceration in the nation right here in Nashville, Tennessee.
It isn't. No, it isn't anymore because that the mass incarceration succeeded in its goal, and that zip code has now been gentrified.
Yeah.
But that was the reason for the mass incarceration.
That was per person in that zip
was
code.
to break up that community.
Yeah.
Which
It
they
is
have
for
succeeded
people
in
born
doing.
between 80 and 86, which is a specific population.
Yes.
And so it's not everybody, but it's
Okay.
for people born between 1980 and 9, because I'm from that zip code. There's people born between 80 and 86, but it's not everybody.
But you know
Okay.
what? But I think that these people move out of Tennessee, move out, or whatever. Then they ask them, "Where are you from? Where were you born and raised?" And then even they get incarcerated someplace else, but they bring them back to where it began, and that's where them numbers coming from. And that's just what I'm thinking, because I
don't always believe the census anyway, Ms. Huff.
and we
I'm the
carry,
same way.
we just carry people's conversation, and then we carry it and spread it, and then that's why we got what we have now.
Yeah. You're right though. I don't always believe it. A lot of it, that's their numbers, right? But okay, so we're coming to the end of our show. We got like 10 minutes, but in closing, right? Is there anything that I missed on? Because this platform is for you guys to speak on issues in Tennessee. Is there anything that we focus on? Yes, ma'am.
We have a big issue, and I just want everybody to know this, and we can all come together on some type of way. That's in Knoxville, Tennessee. They have a sheriff department, the jail up there in Knoxville, that they're beating and killing our African American men that have mental problems. They have them, and we just have one gentleman now. We're going to be having a town hall in Knoxville with the community that's there, but they had some type of way, and that's what I was telling you earlier about when you dangle money in front of our Black men. Some of them, they take this money and they start changing their narrative to what it should sound like to please somebody else. And so they have changed it from a town hall where the people are to the town hall to the Justice Center, where now they're going to be talking, the family is going to talk about what happened to her son. He was beaten to death, and he was having a mental breakdown. He was driving one of the city bus, and while he was driving the bus, he started getting delusional, and the man called the mother and said, "You need to come and get him. We don't know what's wrong." When she got there, they was transferring to the hospital. When he got to the hospital, some type of way, they said that he sexually assaulted someone, so they was taking him to to the jail. He got to the jail some type of way. He came back to the jail dead. To the hospital dead. And they said he had some kind of infection that killed him. No, but you could see the beating that he had all behind his ear, everything. But then now they told what happened, and now they're having a town hall because now it came out that all of these families are experiencing their kid being beaten to death at this jail. And so Ben Crump and all of them will be there on the 28th of this month. They're all going to be there in Knoxville. But that's a problem that they're having there with African American males being beaten and killed. So, and I think we lost our host. Are you there? Okay. But I just want to, we all go riding down in Knoxville, just sitting in the crowd, just seeing what's going on, because all these males just dying in the police department, the sheriff department, and nobody's saying anything. Now they're making a big noise of it.
What's that date again, Sheriff, for the upcoming town hall?
The 28th of February. It starts at 4:00. Hey, Don, do you all have a flyer and some information about Tuesday so I can send it to my network and start spreading that?
Yes, I'll get it on over to you.
Okay, thanks. And some of those bills that you have.
I'm still here. Give me a second.
Okay. Some of those bills that you were saying, I'd like to get that out so we can look at that and start seeing what we can do to help with that also.
Okay, for sure. We have a newsletter that's going for the folks on the inside, but it has all of that information in, so I can send you both.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so you see this? I drunk you can't see it. I drunk. Look,
I saw you.
I've been drinking water the whole time we've been on, right?
I saw you.
And it's been a 2-hour show. So I was like, okay, she's talking. Let me run in the bathroom real quick. Right? So and once I heard you say, I think we lost our host, and I couldn't come back at that time. Yeah, I was like, oh my God. But yeah, I'm man. So there are other parts of the state that are touched, and I know it's not just Nashville and Memphis. It's Knoxville. It's Chattanooga. I got a young man that I wanted to get some support from. His name is Slade, and he was arrested in Chattanooga, Tennessee. He was passing through Chattanooga. He's a tractor trailer driver, and they stopped him and said he hit somebody.
I got that case.
They never said who he hit, right? So he just went to court, and I was trying to get somebody to go to court with him in Chattanooga because he didn't feel comfortable, and I didn't feel comfortable with him going to court with nobody knowing. And what happened is they end up dropping the charges, but he's suing the state of Tennessee for that, right? And it's going to get ugly. He has a big suit against them they came and arrested him in North Carolina. They sent some bondsmen to North Carolina, right? Which is a different jurisdiction. So they violated him. They basically took him hostage and brought him back to Tennessee and locked him up. And this man's never been in trouble, published author, college degrees. Like, he's just a good guy.
That's not slave catching. I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Exactly what that is.
Have you ever heard of Jam Master Jay?
Yeah, the DJ.
Yeah. So no, he was a freedom fighter. He had
I heard Jam Master Jay from Run DMC.
No, his name is and he is in Kentucky, Louisville.
Okay.
And he went down there to help with the Breonna Taylor case.
Okay.
And he have like 5,000 guys. They wear them uniforms and had the guns and all of that. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? Militias or whatever you call them. All black men. And they was like 5,000 strong. And they had 500 of them came to Louisville. And they were all informed, where they do the march, and they had their guns and had their uniform. Yeah. And all of them had their guns like this in the air, but they didn't do anything. They arrested this black man, put him in jail. He's in prison now because they said that he aimed his gun at one of the officers that was on the roof. They have no pictures, nothing to show anybody on this roof, but he's incarcerated right now. They gave him 7 years, but his mouth was real big, and he had a big follower of people stopping corruption and disrupting their system. And because of that, they shut him down. And that's what they're doing to our black people.
That's what they do to us. So we got to wrap it up. But I want to let y'all know, like, this is a platform where we share our stories. Contact me, man. If anybody you see the numbers on the scroll. If anybody has a story they want to share, this is not one of those podcasts where we get on here and just talk about meaningless stuff, right? We ain't debating garbage, right? We're talking about things that really affect our communities and affect our the diaspora. So if you have any shows that you want to talk about, any stories, anything you want to outline, and we have the ability to go live directly to our network. Our network is Fifth Sun TV. It's on Roku. It's a Black-owned network. You don't have to. We're not sanctioned. We're not bought and paid for by Fox, so they can't tell us what to say. This is a place where it's a safe space. You can voice your opinions and you can be heard. So I appreciate you guys for coming on, giving me an opportunity to host this. I look forward to doing great things with you in the future, and following up to find out how it went on the 25th. I hope we have a beautiful turnout, and people get out there and push some legislation. So again, thank you, Cheryl Huff, LaPortia Peoples, Theda Murphy, and Dawn Harrington. I appreciate you and your organizations.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Carlos.
It has been a joy. Thank you.
LaPortia, I love that name now.
All right, now.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.